is probably in the thousands, I would encourage you to use the Boolean. So I want everybody, we started off with 700,000 hits with just a generic Jim Jones. Now keep it on and go ahead and type in Guyana. Next, type in Colt. There are a lot of guys named Jim, and there are a lot of people with the last name of Jones, but not a lot of them have also been to Guyana and also have been involved with the cult. Okay? So once you put in those key terms, all of a sudden you have less hits. Now again, I was talking at the very start a little bit about the grocery store. Imagine having 700,000 or 70 ways or 70 different types of an object. You don't need 70 types of cheese to get the cheese you want. You probably only need to have options of about maybe 5 to 10. And even though these numbers are a little bit different, that's what this filtering process does, is it helps you narrow down what you need. Yes, what's your question?
So, going back to the Boolean logic, right?
Yes.
Like, say, like with the Jim Jones, the Jones to Masco, right? Say we the first one is and the second one is or.
Yes.
Does that read it as Jim Jones, the Jim Jones of like Guyana as a separate thing or a cult, or does the cult thing only have to do with the keyword above it?
I would have to look at it more specifically because there are definitely So this is basically like somebody took a magazine apart and literally scanned it. And so again, you have this, sometimes you'll have the options of an HTML or a PDF. Both of those are good. It just depends really on what you're looking for. But again, as you go through this, make sure that you are using your Drive and you're also getting this citation information, because once it's gone, it's gone. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been telling you to bookmark this information, because we're here right now doing our thing together, but you're going to leave and you're going to fill it up with 1,000 different things that you need to function throughout your life, and you're going to forget some of this stuff. So remember, inspire